Geeky science for you. You ever heard of chinstrap penguins? This is an amazing story. Some years ago, we had Stuart Pym on this program. I'm not sure if he's even alive. I think he passed away. But Stuart Pym was one of America's most famous biologists. And on this program, he told the story of how important it is that bears poop in the woods, per the old joke, right? And what they found was there were some forests here in the Pacific Northwest, actually, this was happening, where all of a sudden the forests started becoming vulnerable to fungus infections and beetles and things and dying off, and nobody could figure out why. And then somebody put two and two together. It turned out that the forests that were dying off were the forests where they had put in dams and things, and the salmon weren't going up the stream anymore. The salmon weren't going up the stream. The bears in the forest weren't eating the salmon. And the bears, therefore, weren't pooping in the woods whatever nutrients they got out of the salmon. And it turned out the essential nutrient that they needed to be in that bear poop to fertilize the trees was iodine. Iodine is carried from the deep ocean, which is where it normally exists, up the rivers by the salmon and into the forests where the bears eat the salmon, and then they poop in the woods, and boom, the trees get the iodine that they need. I mean, who would have thought? You know, here I am in Portland, 100 miles inland from the Pacific Ocean, and the trees around me need iodine, and they get it from bears eating salmon. And not just bears, raccoons and everything else. You know, it's a dead salmon and whatnot. Well, it turns out that chinstrap penguins do a very similar thing with iron in Antarctica. The chinstrap penguins eat krill, and the krill are high in iron. In fact, it makes krill oil red. I don't know if you've ever seen these krill oil capsules. It's bright red. And they eat large amounts of krill, and that gives them iron. They then poop that iron into the water, and that iron in the water then feeds the algae, which is the food for the krill. It's like, you know, a virtuous cycle. This is how the iron gets recycled in the ocean. And when you take out the chinstrap penguins from that cycle, what happens is the iron just settles to the floor of the, you know, when the krill die, the iron in them just settles to the bottom of the ocean with the dead krill and doesn't get recycled, and therefore you don't get the algae. And this now is a problem in the Arctic because the penguins are recycling the iron, and the penguins are dying off in the Antarctic, at the southern pole. And because they're doing this, this is not a good thing for the ecosystem there. Now, what's killing the penguins? The lack of ice to breed on. The penguins need ice. They need sea ice, ice that floats out over the sea. And the sea ice is melting like there's no tomorrow down in the south. The sea ice also keeps the glaciers on Antarctica blocked in so they don't come out onto the sea and raise sea level. There's two glaciers in West Antarctica, the Thwaites and the Pine Island glaciers, these two glaciers. And these two glaciers used to be completely blocked in by sea ice and just move very, very, very slowly down from the plains of Antarctica. Keep in mind, Antarctica is a continent about the size of Australia. It's huge, about the size of the continental United States. And if those two glaciers go into the ocean, it's going to raise worldwide sea levels by 11 feet, which is going to put my house here in Portland underwater. And Sean's as well. And now the sea ice is backing away from these two glaciers. It's killing off the penguins. It's not cycling the iron properly, which is hurting the populations of whales that depend on the krill, that eat the algae, that get the iron from the penguin poop. Man, what we are doing to this world. And it's global warming driving the whole thing. So you can lay all this at the feet of the executives of the fossil fuel industry who for 5 decades, for 50 years, have known exactly what their product was going to do to our planet and decided to make billions of dollars and buy new mansions and new private jets and private yachts rather than save the world. or save the environment. It's incredible. So anyhow, that's our geeky science for the day. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.